beyond the development of these houses. Kia ora.
I'm calling up Barry Coates.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I rise to address Part 2, Clause 6, and particularly the supplementary order paper 321 submitted by the Minister, Honourable Nick Smith. The supplementary order paper 321 prescribes the form of development that should take place on this land. It says there should be no cows or grazing. It says after 6 months there should be at least 5.3 hectares of sports fields. It says then there should be no less than 8.4 hectares of sports fields. My question is, what gives the Minister the right to dictate these precise terms for the use of land that override the democratic process and the interests of others? This is, from our perspective, an example of high-handed dictatorship by the Minister on the use of this hugely important land. I echo my colleagues' interventions in talking about how important this land is. It is vital for a just treaty settlement for Ngāti Paoa, and we respect that. But it's also vital land for the local community and open space in an area which is increasingly going to become short of open space. And it is important ecological habitat for 2 endangered species. So my concern is having those considerations overridden by the Minister dictating to Ngāti Paoa about having to use their land in particular for particular purposes, for housing and other purposes, dictating to the local community and to Auckland Council, and as we've heard, the Mayor of Auckland has been forced to write in strong terms to the Minister, as we've heard earlier on in the debate. This is vintage work from the Minister, Dr. Nick Smith. It is, in short, a mess. It's another example of the government using legislation to tell mana whenua local people in the Auckland Council what to do. But we're not North Korea, and the Minister is not Kim Jong-un. We oppose this overriding of democracy. I support Supplementary Order Paper 317, tabled by Eugenie Sage. This would ensure there are basic consultation processes that are applied by using the resource consent process. That would bring some considerations of consultation and would guard against some of the haphazard and dictatorial methods that have been applied to this bill so far. This bill has pitched mana whenua against the environment and against local people. This should not be the case. We should be able to work out a satisfactory arrangement for the benefit of all. This is unique open space. It is habitat for the northern dotterel and shore plover. It is treaty settlement legislation by another name. But it is bad legislation. We support Ngāti Paoa in reclaiming a small part of their land as redress for their land having been stolen. But we also support open land for conservation. And we support maintaining their habitat and protecting 2 endangered species. Mr. Chair, this bill is a mess. It has created division where there should be none. It is bad legislation. And we should rightfully be concerned as a House when legislation like this gets forced through by the government. Thank you.
Calling up Mega Whaitiri.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much for this opportunity.